welcome to Making Mindfulness Fun. In this video, we're covering what it means to have a South Node in Aquarius and a North Node in Leo in your birth chart.
Hello and welcome to Making Mindfulness Fun. My name is Gabby.
I'm Isabelle.
We're here to help you live your purpose and be the hero of your story. So, in this video series, we're breaking down what it means to have a North Node in Leo. Okay, so if you have a North Node in Leo, correspondingly, that means you have a South Node in Aquarius. Okay, we're going to be diving through all of the North Nodes in this series. We'll be breaking that down over the coming weeks. But before we dive into what it means to have a North Node in Leo, I want to break down really quick what a North Node means. In case this is the first time for you to discover what this term is, your North Node is a point on your birth chart. Okay, and there's a good chance that's how you found out about North Node, and that's why you're researching it right now, what your North Node in Leo means. So a North Node is a point on your birth chart that represents the mountains you are here to climb, your path to growth. Okay, in terms of that, your South Node often represents these things that we're really good at. It's all of our gifts and talents and the things that we're like, yes, we crush it at these things. Like, for example, I'm a South Node in Capricorn, which means I'm so good at being productive and achieving. But the problem is, even though those gifts get us far in life, they can only get us so far because South Node is what we overuse. And energetically speaking, it's like this spectrum of if we overuse our South Node too much and we neglect our North Node, we create this energetic turmoil in our personal energetic field. If we step into our North Node, it creates this cohesiveness, this equilibrium in our energetic being that essentially makes it so that we can magnetize the things that we desire, the things that we want in our lives faster because we are stepping into our, essentially, our karmic growth. Isabelle will touch on in a second what it also has to do with our karma of the South Node and North Node, but the big part of your North Node is that it is the journey, it is the path forward to you living in your purpose. And when you live in your purpose, you can live an amazing life faster because energetically speaking, your desires will be magnetized to you.
And on a more spiritual perspective on the North and South Nodes that you may hear is that the South Node represents our past life, what we mastered in our past life. It was the thing that we became extremely good at, but is now what, like she said, we overuse. So it's our past life karma, the thing that's going to keep us tied down to a certain level of frequency. And the North Node is your ultimate path to growth in this incarnation. It's what the universe wants you to embrace to experience the deepest human experience possible. And if you're not a spiritual person and you don't believe in reincarnation, we like to think of it as very similar to the Enneagram stress and growth numbers, where you move towards one thing in stress and it's something that you do when you're not feeling good, when your programming is activated, and it just comes more natural. And your growth is going to be harder for you, but it's going to expand your capacity to receive and be a magnet for anything you desire.
Yeah, so let's dive into what it means to have a North Node in Leo. So the first thing to bring up, as a South Node in Aquarius, what is it that these people are overusing? So these people are very calculated and detached. And so to some, it could appear that they're very emotionless or cold, but that's the Aquarius archetype. The Aquarius is the idealist. They're thinking about the collective, the group. They're thinking about logical systems and efficient systems and innovation. And if that is your South Node, it can often come out as this sense of essentially detaching from yourself as the individual, because you have to remember that in your journey as a human being, we have to cultivate self before we can cultivate collective. And so for the people with South Node in Aquarius, they tend to neglect that there is a self that must be prioritized first. And so they often come across as, even though they are cold or emotionless, like in a stereotypical way, they are actually thinking about everyone else before themselves. And in the process, they're not able to actually cultivate their own gifts and step into their full power and courage and strength to help the collective around them.
Right. And so really the biggest parts I noticed with the Aquarius versus the Leo archetype is that you hear about, like there's the song about the age of Aquarius, and it's all about the world out there and how are we going to lift it up for generations going forward? How can we help looking outward? It's very similar to, it has a lot of commonalities with the intuitive and the J function. Those two are very strong in a way, very similar to the Aquarius South Node, where you have a tendency to think about, how am I going to make an impact on the world? How am I going to forego my sense of self and be a part of a system to raise everyone else up, to raise the collective vibration, to help us innovate and move forward so that we can be a better society? However, Leo is completely opposite of that. They could care less about the collective evolution. They could care less about being part of a movement. Leo walks into the door and thinks, how can I have fun? Because that is what they're here to do.
Or even not even to have fun as a Leo, but they want to be the center stage. They want to be at the center stage. They want to see eyes on them. And actually, that is not a bad thing. Sometimes Leos get a bad rap, or just the Leo archetype gets a bad rap because it's like a selfish archetype. But like I just said, you cannot serve the people around you until you deeply know and love yourself. Leo represents the pride of loving who we are and the courage to express who we are, even if there is a risk of judgment. So, South Node in Aquarius, I'm going to use the example of our older brother has a South Node in Aquarius and a North Node in Leo. And one of the ways that this manifests is that he's a very quiet, timid, reserved person. He's extremely philosophical and loves to have conversations around like these idealistic ideas, likes to even talk about efficient systems, ways to implement innovation. He loves that, but at the same time, he struggles a lot in finding, and I say this from a place of loving kindness, he struggles to find what his most meaningful career is, because he's 23. And one of the things that we talk to him about is how, as a South Node in Aquarius, he has this tendency to, he's always playing the long game of like, well, what's the smart thing to do in the long term? And that's actually characteristic of Aquarius, because they're not thinking about the present material world right here. It's all about the idealistic, what's not tangible. At the same time, they also don't see themselves, they don't truly believe that they have something to offer the world. And it's very hard, especially when it comes to career. It's hard to step into a life that or into a meaningful career. For everyone, a meaningful career is where they feel valued for their gifts and talents. So how can you have a meaningful career if you don't believe you have gifts and talents that are worth sharing with the world? So I think that for him and for anyone else with a North Node in Leo, they have to spend a lot of energy believing in themselves, and that belief in themselves has to believe in your gifts and talents. You have to have the courage to go out there and believe that you have something valuable to offer. And you have to have the courage to go out there even if there's a possibility of the collective not 100% agreeing with you. Because as an Aquarius South Node, you want the whole collective group to like you or accept you. They're not necessarily, it's not center of attention. They want to blend and merge with the crowd and the collective. So they have to have the courage to stand out and be seen on the center of the stage with the spotlight shining down on them to show all of their gifts and their weaknesses in the process, which is absolutely a hard process to do, but it's their path to living their most purposeful life.
Yes, and I think it's really important when you're finding out about your North Nodes, like you're watching this video because you found out you have a South Node in Aquarius and a North Node in Leo. But it's also really important to know what house your North and South Node are in. And again, your houses are always going to be opposite of each other. If you have a South Node in your 12th house, it's going to naturally be in your 6th house. And the same applies for all the other houses, where it's going to be on that axis. And so for the South Node in Aquarius, I think it's really important to know what house your South Node is in, because it's going to show where you're going to try the merge the most. I think it's very impactful if you have an 11th house or a 10th house South Node Aquarius. You're going to feel this even more strong need to merge with someone or merge with a group in your career and in your community, which come very hand in hand for a lot of people, where they're working on teams, working in big groups, working in an office where everyone is trying to just fit their role, and it doesn't really matter what their unique side of them is. So if you have a South Node in those two houses, it's going to be extremely impactful, but also just knowing in general what house your South Node and North Node are in, because then it's also going to show you where you need to embrace this joie de vivre and confidence the most.
I think it's highly beneficial. I shared in our last video where we talked about the North Node in Taurus that they have to spend a lot of focus on getting that groundedness of Taurus through their sacral chakra of their worth. And you can go watch that video to understand what I mean by that. But for the Leo North Node, you have to focus a lot of energy on your solar plexus chakra. The Aquarius, there's nothing exactly about them that points away from action, but North Node in Leo absolutely points toward taking bold action. And bold action for someone with a North Node in Leo, you're going to be like, please no. Like, that sounds terrible. So how do you start small on this? Start small by thinking about, you have to think about what your desire is. Okay, we shared this in the last video too. If you don't know what your desire is, you should definitely check out Be the Hero Academy. You can visit BeTheHero.academy to learn more about our membership platform. But in there, we take you on a journey for you to unlock what your dream day is, what your desire is, and you're gonna work one-on-one with a coach, one time a month, to help you figure out what that dream is. And that's really important for North Node and Leo, because you got to start with a desire to be able to take bold action. You can't just take bold action in any direction, because then it's not aligned action. Then it's just random action. And you have to be staying in alignment with your highest self. So start by knowing your desire. Then you can just start to take baby steps of risk, baby steps of bold action. Do one thing every day that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, but do it with an aura of knowing with full confidence that you are doing the right thing.
Right. And another thing for a Leo North Node and a South Node Aquarius is that you really need to pay attention to, because naturally our South Node is our safe place. This is what we're good at. We mastered it. And so it can be really hard, I think, especially for a North Node in Leo, to really believe that they are worthy of confidence, of chasing their desires, of taking center stage, of chasing what makes them feel joyful instead of merging with the group. A programming is going to come up for you where you feel like this is wrong. You're going to feel in your gut that this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, because it seems so right and it seems so good to just be in that South Node Aquarius. It seems like it's what you're supposed to do. Like, why should I be a selfish person? That sounds so wrong. But the North and South Nodes are all about the frequency we're supposed to embrace. And they're supposed to teach us a deeper level of living this human experience, if that makes sense. It's all about what is going to make this human experience the most unique and deep. And for each person who has a different North Node, the deepest human experience is going to be different for them. But with a North Node in Leo, you're going to find the deepest human experience through your frequency and embodying confidence, joy, and presence. You already mastered the detachment and the emotional neutrality. Now you're here to be a beacon of joy and confidence for other people, so that when they're walking down the street or they meet you, they're thinking, wow, this person has embodied who they are so much. There's so much joy in their being. There's so much confidence in their being. I can't help but be inspired, but to follow my own path. Even if their North Node isn't Leo, they're going to be inspired by your confidence, your ability to be assertive and own who you are and not merge with a group.
Yeah, so if you're someone who has a North Node in Leo, and if you feel like you need more support in this process, like this process of taking a step outside your comfort zone every day, embracing your inner child, being a little bit childish, being joyful and enthusiastic instead of always idealistic or conforming to the group or staying in your shell, in your bubble of being in your thoughts. If you feel like you need the support, that daily support, that person in your ear saying, you got this, you can go for it, you can take that risk, it's gonna be okay, then you should check out Be the Hero Academy. Like I shared earlier, we give you the support that you need for you to step into your North Node and live a life of purpose.
Yes, and I will be giving a masterclass on this on our membership at the end of December to help you set New Year's resolutions aligned with your unique North Node. Because frankly, probably even more so for South Node and Aquarius, they can get so attached to a collective idea of how you're going to change the world in your goals for the next year. But using your North Node to set your New Year's resolutions will set you on the right path. And I'm going to walk you through it all and make sure that you have the exact actionable steps you need in the simplest way possible so that you can live in alignment with your North Node.
After all, Be the Hero Academy is a place where we help everyday people live amazing lives. And the whole point of a North Node in Leo is to accept the fact that you are here to live an amazing life.
Live your best life.
That's your whole purpose. You are here to love your life. So you can check that out. Link is in the description. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop us a like and let us know in the comments below. We're going to be doing a whole series about the North Nodes, and if there is a North Node that you're excited to hear next, let us know in the comments, because there's a lot to get through and we can prioritize which ones we go through next. Thank you guys for joining us here on Making Mindfulness Fun. Namaste.
Namaste.